here on Love at First Shot with Tess, and we are so excited to have you this season. Tell me kind of your arc. I know you kind of had a very firearm-friendly childhood.
I did. It's a little bit different than most people. I fell in love with horses when I was very young. At the age of 12, I was introduced to the sport of modern pentathlon. They were the 5 sports that a militian would have to know: running, swimming, shooting, fencing, and horseback riding.
So it originated really as training for war.
Yes.
And then it became kind of even an Olympic sport, I understand.
It is. So to be brought up through that sport into the art of shooting is different. My goal was to go to the Olympics in horseback riding. That was my first love, and shooting was one way to get there. In order to horseback ride, I had to train for shooting.
So even though shooting was kind of secondary at best, really, it kind of sounds like it took over in your life.
One thing just continuously led to the other, and I absolutely fell in love with the art of shooting, but also the people who were involved in it.
And then you transitioned into a career in firearms, right? Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, it's been quite the journey. When I first came in, I was 21. There were not a lot of females in the industry. Now there are plenty of women. There's tons of women's clubs now. A lot of shooting ranges are hosting female-only nights and really making it welcome, not only for women in the industry to kind of use their experience, but they're also opening it up to other women who have always been interested but never had the proper environment to take that step forward to join the industry.
So concealed carry for you is a new aspect of the firearms community that you're starting to explore.
And I've always known that I have the freedom to choose. And over time, especially as the world has become what it is today, I think it's become a lot more important.
You feel like it's time to protect yourself.
I feel like it's my duty to protect myself and my home.
So you had kind of an interesting experience that also kind of prompted this concealed carry interest, right?
I did. I was training for the Bataan Memorial Death March, which is a 26.2-mile ruck, essentially. It was late at night one night, and I was out on a trail that I had run for years. I knew that a bunch of endurance athletes were out there on Tuesdays and Thursdays evenings, and so I knew that there were going to be people out there, but I had talked my girlfriend into coming with me. So she and I were both out there rucking. I had the weight on, and as we turned around, I kept hearing something kind of rustling over my shoulder, and I was thinking, well, what is that? A little bit down the road, it kept getting closer and closer and closer, and I was like, hey, hold on a second. I'm like, do you hear that? Shine your light over here. And when she did, there was something glowing, and I didn't know if it was a person, I didn't know if it was an animal, I didn't know if we were being stalked. We got out of there as quickly as we possibly could.
It's terrifying.
Just a few weeks later, too, the shooting at the baseball complex in D.C. happened just a couple miles from my house. So between those two things, I really started to take a look and say, you know what, it's not that something is going to happen, but it honed in the idea that it is my responsibility to take care of myself.
Well, I think that's really interesting, too, because you just touched on the fact that it's not that you want to live in fear. It's actually that this kind of mitigates the fear because you know that you can take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to training, what is your plan? Where do you want to go with it?
I want to take some time and get familiar with a couple of different handguns that I know, because that's going to affect the training, that's going to affect where I carry.
Well, and I love that point, too, because actually women, we wear so many different outfits, so many different styles of outfits that you almost have to choose your gun like you choose your shoes.
Absolutely. Right. Well, and if you carry in a purse versus, ankle, appendix, it definitely does. It does. And sometimes you need more than one, but you also need to be familiar with all of those. And my goal is to continue, every time I go out to the range to train for 3-gun or sporting clays or anything like that, just to hop over to a pistol range and, put a few rounds through that gun just so that I'm always familiar with it if I need it.
It's a new level of responsibility, really.
Absolutely.